We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and your friends if you want to support this Rebel Outpost College Football YouTube channel with a donation. Please just hit the $, make a comment, and I will get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome to Heisman City, and welcome to the studio that sits on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway in Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be a legend with your comments in the chat room and with your phone calls later in the show. It's been a while. We haven't done a live show since Friday. We usually get one in during the weekend, but I was busy. I did watch some Saturday spring football games. One in particular, the 2024 hype train has left the station. The 2024 college football hype train has left the station. And the Cornhuskers and the Hurricanes, they're at least in the caboose. Holy smokes. Nothing what the Hurricanes. Now, obviously, the Hurricanes didn't play on Saturday, but come on. Holy smokes. Look what Miami has done in the last 72 hours, 96 hours, whatever. Damian Martinez, the great running back. Forget about what I was saying about Henry Parrish. I was mistakenly saying about Henry Parrish. I thought he was still on the team when we did the Miami Hurricane Spotlight show. Shame on me. About 8 days, 9 days prior, it sounded like he had a conversation with Mario Cristobal. I think he's back with Ole Miss. It don't matter. I like Henry Parrish. You all know I like Henry Parrish. You all know he should have gotten the rock more at Miami, but forget about it. Just forget about all that. Damian Martinez is now the running back at Miami. And he better get the rock. Mario Cristobal. Give him the rock. Protect your quarterback. Miami is going to be challenging to get to the ACC Conference Championship game. If Cameron Ward plays like he can, doesn't turn over the ball, doesn't get caught, doesn't sit in the pocket for too long, doesn't fumble the ball away with his 8.5-inch or whatever small hands that he has. Part of protecting your quarterback is making sure the other team can't tee off on you. Give it to Martinez. Give the rock to Damian Martinez. And then you get yourself Sam Brown. Now, I don't consider Sam Brown to be like... I've seen him play a lot. West Virginia, Houston. I don't consider him like a first-round draft pick. I don't think he's a second-round draft pick. But he's a really good college receiver. And adding him to the mix at Miami, holy smokes. Holy smokes. And then we're going to be talking about Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola. Hola Samoka. Now, you know how I like to throw elbows at my fellow Cornhuskers. As a Golden Gopher, I have enjoyed the Minnesota Golden Gophers beating Nebraska 5 straight years. I have enjoyed Minnesota beating Nebraska more times than Nebraska has beaten Minnesota since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed the Minnesota Golden Gophers going 5-0 in bowl games since the last time Nebraska has made it into a bowl game. A lot of us Big Ten fans, fans of Big Ten schools, have enjoyed the fact that we've had the advantage over the mighty Cornhuskers, over that huge fan base, over the huge money disparity that they have over us because of all the ticket sales, the t-shirt sales, the incredible fan base of the Cornhuskers, the facilities, on and on and on and on. It's almost the only game in town in the great state of Nebraska. We at Minnesota, we at Illinois, we at Iowa, we've all enjoyed the advantage that we've had over the Cornhuskers the last 7 years. Well, unfortunately for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, the Fighting Illini, the Purdue Boilermakers, the Northwestern Wildcats, Wisconsin Badgers, and maybe even the Cornhuskers' rival, the Iowa Hawkeyes, it looks like those days are coming to an end. Dylan Raiola. remember the name. Now, months ago, I bragged about Dylan Raiola. I have never, again, I've thrown elbows with my Nebraska friends and not so friends on X, on this chat room and the show. I've thrown my elbows, they've thrown it back at me. But I've never had I loved Dylan Raiola's tape, high school tape. Now, he's been bouncing around at different high schools. But if you watch his high school tape as he bounces around the country, and then as he's committed about four different times, you cannot take away how talented that kid is. The young man has got more talent in his pinky than most of the college football quarterbacks out there. I know most of you did not watch Dylan Raiola because, it's on the Big Ten Network. It's one school out of 100 having a spring football game. I'm just saying. He is the real deal Holyfield. And this is coming from a Golden Gopher. This comes from a place of hurt, pain, jealousy. The best way to turn around a football program is to get yourself a difference maker at quarterback. The problem is it's very, very difficult to get a difference maker in at quarterback if your team has been floundering around for more than a half a decade. Kansas was able to do it. They got a primetime quarterback. Dylan Raiola, right now he's going to be working out with Patrick Mahomes and his trainer. Shoot, he looked like Patrick Mahomes on Saturday. He wears the same number 15, Patrick Mahomes. Sidearm throws, bam, bam, bam. I'm telling you, the hype train, I'm on it. PATC is on the Cornhuskers hype train and the Miami Hurricane hype train. So during the show, in the chat room, with the phone calls, let me know what hype train you have jumped on recently. A team that's not favored to win their conference. Miami's not favored to win. Not right now anyway, so that may change. Cornhuskers, I think their win total maybe 7.5. What hype train have you recently jumped on? For me, in the last 72 hours, 96 hours, I've jumped on Nebraska and Miami. And I'm already on the North Carolina State Wolfpack. So I'm on 2 ACC hype trains. And I kind of like Virginia Tech as well. So, anyways. Georgia Bulldogs are in a whole... in fact, I think I can probably just say it right now. Carson Beck probably is my favorite to win the Heisman this year. So I'm not going out. I'm talking about teams, programs that maybe a lot of people aren't thinking that they can challenge. And I don't think Nebraska can challenge for the Big Ten title this year. I don't like their running back room. I think Emmett Johnson's a decent running back. Gabe Urban, who's injured, he'll be back. Not really. Ramir Johnson. Their wide receivers, looks like they got a lot of talent. Freshmen. Hopefully Fedoni, the tight end, can stay healthy like he did last year. I think he caught like 25 balls last year. Hopefully he'll catch 35 to 40 this year. Nebraska's defense is real good, but they lost They lost that transfer from St. Francis. Not Tommy Hill, but Brylan Hill, the transfer from St. Francis, who took over a cornerback spot. He got injured in the spring football game. Demetrius Bell, the wide receiver, got injured. Serious injuries for Nebraska in the spring game. So it's not all fantastic news. But Dylan Raiola is the real deal. No question about it. No question about it. I mean, the kid can flat out. The kid is going to be must-watch TV. Nebraska Cornhuskers 2024. Kerry Gold Nose. Thank you for your super chat. 10 Nose drafted, unlike what you said about Fisk, etc. What did I say about Fisk? The defensive lineman? I can't remember what I said about him. Did I say something about his measurables? Did I take a shot at Fisk? I can't remember. I take a shot at so many people. I cannot remember who I think his measurables weren't all that good. He got drafted. Jared Verse, of course. Thank you for the super chat. Kerry Gold Nose, thank you so very much for your generosity. I appreciate it. Appreciate it so very much. Greg giving the kiss of death out already. So now I'm on the Miami Hurricanes, the hype train. It's left the PATC station. And for whatever reason, I don't understand it. But for whatever reason, I can hear the Miami Hurricane fans booing, and I can hear the Florida State Seminole fans cheering. I don't get it. No, Miami, North Carolina State, Florida State. It's going to be a very fascinating season in the ACC. No question about it. No question about it. Okay. The Colorado game will tell us who Nebraska, you know what? Let's just take a look. Let's just do it. I haven't even gone over what we're going to go over today yet. Holy smokes. Football schedule, Nebraska, UTEP, Colorado Buffaloes. Man, September 7th. Dylan Raiola versus Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, that's that's going to be a very fascinating game. Yeah, you're right, guys. That's a who does Colorado start with here? North Dakota State. Man, they got North Dakota State, Nebraska, Colorado State. Then Baylor, then at UCF. Colorado's got to be good to go right out of the gate. They got to be good to go right out of the gate. Okay, so we're going to, look, so we got the hype train going on. And then, we've got this, more than one article came out. We're just going to go through the Ross Dellinger article. There was another article written, and there was a lot of people talking about it. They've already spot a weakness in the expanded 12-team playoff, the Achilles heel of it, the something that isn't right with it. I'm telling you, from my perspective, you guys know how much I love this 12-team expanded playoff. I think it's brilliant. I think it's going to work. Maybe I'm a schmuck. Maybe I'm naive, but I think it's going to be utterly fantastic. Call me a fool. Call me a fool, but I think it's going to be, I think it's just going to be a smashing hit. I think the regular season is going to I think there's going to be so much more meaningful games, so many more storylines, so much more drama because of the 12-team expanded playoff. And this article goes through, there's something wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That's why I titled the name of this live show RELAX, relax. We're going to go through it. There's one particular point that people are saying, we got to change it because of this. We got to change it because of this. Now, don't have to change it. Don't have to change it. Don't have to change it. It's beautiful the way it is, and I'm going to go through it. And then, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Miami Hurricanes. A little bit more. There was an article out today. Just bear with me. We're just going to talk a little bit more about the Miami Hurricanes. We're also going to talk about the Holy Smokes Theater, P2 and Friends. We dropped an early peek Cloak and Dagger episode this morning for members only. We're going to go through what we went through in that membership episode. If you're not a member, go to the link provided in the description box. Hit the link, hit the join button, and you'll be able to get a little bit of Cloak and Dagger before we go with it live. I want to thank everybody for coming on in to the chat room. And then I want to speak on something for just a moment that is not college football related. Okay? John Hagen is in the house. Afternoon, folks. John Menser is in the house. David Capusa is in the house. Rock and Rant. John Menser, Matt Neeson, Chief Fan is here. The Bulldog is here. The Evil Badger. The Evil Badger, Jeff Olson, is in the house. He's upset. Jeff is very upset with me because I'm talking positive. I'm putting out some positive waves for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and I'm not putting out positive waves for the Wisconsin Badgers. So Jeff Olson is very upset with me. Daniel is in the house. Carrie is here. B Expedition. Greg, Jim Reese, Chad Bracey, Crab Cakes and Football. Hey Greg, new Terp problem. Went in with 3 quarterbacks in competition, but now have 4. Who's the 4th one? Did somebody pop in that spring football game? I don't know who that 4th is. Let me know, Crab Cakes and Football, with a phone call or with the chat. I might have missed something. KS Bear Fan. Had on a swivel time. Les Austin Jr., Jay Chapman, Kyle. DP is in the house. Nick Finn is here. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Daniel Montcastle, Bimba, 7579. Will the average fan care about the other conferences? I will. Well, we'll see if anybody else does, but I will. Rob Allen, Parrish or Martinez, who has the better year? I'm going to go with Martinez. And I'm a Parrish fan. I'm a Parish fan. Young Seminole is in the house. Brother Monzon is here. Tough Tony is in the house. Joaquin Morales. Don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you, Joaquin. I appreciate you for reminding everybody. Congo is in the house. Immaculate is in the house. He's upset with me because I'm on the Cornhuskers bandwagon. April 29th, Dylan Raiola. Holy smokes. Cornelius Green, Florida Canes. Okay. Look, I don't normally do this. I never do this. But I got to talk about something. And then we'll talk about college football. I don't talk about anything on this channel that isn't college football, except for the 0.00001% when I talk about things that are flying in the air, in the waters, in space, that we don't know what they are. Other than that, that's all we talk about here at College Football Peek Around the Corner. But I'm going to take this 2 minutes. It's and I want to talk about something. And you know what? If I lose a few of you in the chat room for saying this, that's my loss. That's not your loss. This is not a political statement. It's a human statement. It's a human statement. But I got to say this. I have seen some videos today. And you can disagree with me. That is all cool with Peek Around the Corner. But I need to say this because I don't want to have to put my head on the pillow and think to myself, I did not have an opportunity to say what really I think needs to be said. Protesting in this country, peaceful protesting, is a constitutional right. Peaceful protesting. If you want to protest this government's policy, somebody else's government policy, if you want to protest the Minnesota Golden Gophers, if you want to protest whatever policy you want to protest, any private industry you want to protest, any public institution you want to protest, any government you want to protest, go for it. It's constitutionally protected, and I will speak up for your rights every single time for you to protest. I don't care if I agree with you, disagree with you, you change my mind, I change yours. You have the right to peacefully protest. It's constitutionally protected. But you don't have the right to protest when it's not peaceful. You don't have that right. Now, sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes having to sit down and being arrested, it's worth it. If you peacefully get handcuffed and pulled away, maybe ethically inside of you, that's correct thing to do, that's fine. But when you block a highway, that's not peaceful protesting. When you make these encampments that are not safe for a whole lot of people, eventually, that's not peaceful protesting. When you're building encampments in public institutions on their space, private institutions where students cannot go to class, it's not peaceful protesting. The video I saw today, if you are not allowed as a student to be able to enter into a building because you happen to be of some religion, some skin color, some gender, some ethnic, some sexuality, whatever it is. If you're not allowed to enter into the building to go to class, there's something seriously wrong. Look, I know there's a lot of young people that watch my channel. I can tell by the demographics. A lot of young people watch college football peek around the corner. I appreciate it. And I'm talking about a very small segment of young people in these universities. But again, you stopping a person from going to class because their last name, because they have some heritage that is Jewish? Are you kidding me? I've seen the videos today. That is unbelievably ridiculous. If you're Jewish and you can't go to class, if you practice Islam, you can't go to class. If you are an atheist and you can't go to class, if you're Irish, because you're Irish, you can't go to class. You're straight, so you can't go to class. You're gay, so therefore you can't go to class. You're short, you can't go to class. You're tall, you can't go to class. You're fat, you can't go to class. You're skinny, you're an athlete, you're a non-athlete. What are we doing? When at a university, when somebody can't go to class, so I had to get this because this is bad. This is spreading. It's getting worse. I don't care what your politics are. I don't go for it. Peaceful protest. Do it to your heart's content. God bless you. But when you're stopping people from going to class because of their ethnicity, because of their religion or non-religion, man, those young men and women that are doing that think they're fighting for something, you don't got a clue. You haven't lived yet. You haven't lived yet. Going to college, going to school, learning everybody's different values, learning people's different heritage. That's the best thing about school. Not stopping people from going to their class. Okay. I just had to say that. Now, that's well, if you think that king on forehead, you completely misinterpreted what I've said. The civil rights era, the protests of Martin Luther King, they did not stop people from going to class. Innocent people walking through campus. Big Ten Ted, all aboard the hype train, choo choo. Dylan Raiola. Holy smokes. Okay, now let's get to it here. First of all, I just want to cover real quick what we covered in our early Pete Cloak and Dagger episode. If Washington State and Oregon State were have their way in selecting schools, what would their ideal Pac 8, 10, 12 look like? The key word isn't selecting so much as selective. The Pac-2 schools must devise a strategy that provides short-term stability starting with the 2026 season while creating a path to long-haul prosperity. That was a question asked to John Wilner of the Mercury News. If Washington State and Oregon State were have their way in selecting schools, what would their ideal Pac 8, 10, 12 look like? A full reverse merger with the 12 schools in the Mountain West to form the Pac 14 would not satisfy the latter requirement. Why? Because too many of the 14 members would offer below standard media and competitive value. Again, this is what we reported on over a week ago here at Peek Around the Corner. Washington State and Oregon State have started the evaluations. Right? We talked about it. We opened up the matinee Holy Smokes Theater matinee show. And Washington State and Oregon State. Washington State and Oregon State going through the evaluations. The odds are against them taking all 12 Mountain West schools to create a Pac-14. Right? The odds are against it. We reported that. John Wilner is hinting towards that. If the hotline were advising Washington State and Oregon State, our focus would be on luring top schools in the Mountain West. San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, plus UNLV, and a few schools from other time zones. Expand the footprint, grow the market, add members with potential to flourish. That means examining the viability of WAC, Conference USA, and the American Athletic Conference schools. Officials in Pullman and Corvallis have been consistent in their approach. Nothing is off the table for rebuilding the Pac-12, and that's the only logical tack. When you are adrift in open water, any lifeboat will suffice. But before Pac-2 schools start the expansion process, they must stay flexible and monitor the ACC situation. If the conference collapses in the wake of the lawsuit by Florida State and Clemson, the calculation could change for Washington State and Oregon State. Again, we talked about it over a week ago here at Peek Around the Corner. The work has already started. Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, they're at the center of the stage. Colorado State in the first row. They're going to be working on those programs. They're going to be working on trying to peel those off, trying to have those schools interested in moving out from the Mountain West, joining the Pac-12, the Pac-2, and not have this full merger. And then they're going to be looking at the AAC schools, a couple of them. But Washington State and Oregon State, when they're doing all this, at the same time, they got to make sure they build an exit hatch. Because when the ACC implodes and when the backfills, Oregon State and Washington State want to be in the hunt to grab one of those backfill spots. So when they're creating this Frankenstein conference, when Oregon State and Washington State are creating this Frankenstein conference, they want to make sure they can build an exit hatch to take advantage. So we talked about it over a week ago. I let you all know the chatter was growing. This is happening. John Wilner, in answering this question, gave everybody a wink and a nod here. This is happening right now. The work is being done right now. This story is going to take a long time. Well, not a long time to unravel, but it has started. And that's why we talked about it. I don't know how. It was a little bit over a week ago. So I wanted to make sure we hit that part. We talked about it. If you want a more in-depth analysis, go to our Cloak and Dagger videos for members only. Give it a look. Okay. Now, the expanded 12-team college football playoff is here. Ross Dellinger, this morning, Irving, Texas, inside the college football playoff meeting room. This article, we provide a link in the description box. You can read the whole thing. Inside the college football playoff meeting room at a resort hotel in the posh community, Las Colinas, their industry's most powerful leaders played a game, a bracket game. Remember when they did the brackets, when they pretended to do a playoff and so they wanted to see how the logistics worked? Gathered around a table, the FBS commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director projected a 12-team playoff bracket for applying the 2022 rankings. 8 months away from a historic 2024 CFP selection day, the inaugural expanded playoff, the bracketing exercise commenced as a way to show executives the matchups, trends, and perhaps even issues. We'll get to that later. Produced with a new format. A couple hours later, a handful of reporters were ushered into the room to do the same, sitting in the exact chairs and with commissioners previously resided as an outgoing CFP director. Bill Hancock guided the room through the process. In front of us, a projection screen flickered to life with a bracket, a 2022 12-team playoff based on rankings that year and considering realignment moves. First round matchups at on-campus sites of the better seed included number 8 seed Tennessee hosting number 9 Kansas State, number 12 seed Tulane at number 5 TCU, number 10 USC at number 7 Alabama, number 11 Penn State at number 6 Ohio State. The latter is a rematch. That's problem number 1. As it stands now, there is no CFP protocol on avoiding first round matchups. But before we get into details of all the problems, I don't see any problems. We'll get to that in a second. But before we get into details of all the problems, the 5+7, 12-team playoff format, let's go over some ground rules about a format that can be a bit confusing. We really don't have to go over this. We know what it is. 5 highest ranked conference champions, right? The top 4 conference champions get a bye in the playoffs. Okay? Even commissioners acknowledge as much after the bracketing exercise. A lot of rematches, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said. Sankey evaded repeated questions about the CFP instituting a protocol to avoid rematches, citing the current policy. But this is an easy answer. Yes, avoid rematches. I disagree. I don't know what the problem is with the rematch, and I will get to it when I'm done with the article. I don't think it's worth the effort. I don't think it's worth maligning the seeding process to avoid rematches, especially when you could have so many rematches. Even if you did all the possible avoiding, you still may have a rematch anyways. It may be unsolvable. But then again, I don't know what the problem with the rematch is, and I'll get to that in a moment. Why are we replaying a game that happened a few months, if not weeks before? In 2014, the 8 versus 9 game would have been a rematch between Mississippi State and Ole Miss that happened 3 weeks prior in the Egg Bowl. In 2018, Georgia and Florida would have been paired in the first round. In 2021, it was Baylor and Oklahoma State in the first round. Don't give us a sequel in the first round. Save that for later. There are 3 more rounds in which rematches will undoubtedly happen. Avoid the easy one. This isn't complicated. There are plenty of other problems with the 5+7 model. Teams in the top 4 of the final rankings that did not win their conference will be forced to play a first round game while weaker conference champions earn a bye. Is this a problem? No! Again, I'll get back to that. No, it's not a problem. Why is it a problem? I don't get it. Why is any of these a problem? Teams in the top 4 of their final rankings that did not win their conference will be forced to play a first-round game, while a weaker conference champions earn a bye. But we want the incentive of winning a conference championship. You know what? I'm just gonna go to it right now. I don't get the problem. First of all, in the NFL, remember, everybody wants, not everybody, but a lot of college football writers have no problems, no issues with college football becoming more and more like the NFL, right? And a lot of that I agree with. Some of it I don't, some of it I do. Collective bargaining agreement, protecting the student athletes, have the representation, negotiate, higher compensation, better long-term health packages, an expanded playoff. But the NFL has playoff games that are rematches. They do it all the time. The NFL, there's a lot of games that the last game of the regular season, they play in the first round of the NFL playoffs. It doesn't take away from anything. And when you win your division, in the NFL, you have a better chance of having home field advantage for the first round, right? You do have a home field advantage in the first round. If I remember what the format is anymore. It's okay to have a conference champion get a first round bye while a supposedly stronger team that isn't a conference champion has to play at home in the first round. None of it's bad for the NFL, so why would it be bad for college football? None of that has ruined the NFL playoffs, so why would it ruin the the college football expanded playoff? Excuse me. I think when we go through this exercise, you're always going to have rematches, are almost always going to have rematches in the first round. Let's go with it. It's okay. No big deal. It might even add to the drama of it. We might even have teams playing each other for the third time. Not in the first round, but eventually later on in the playoffs. We might have a conference champion playing a team in the second or third round that have played each other already twice that year. In the regular season conference game, in the conference championship game, and again later in the playoffs. I don't want this hocus pocus running around trying to figure out the seedings based upon avoiding rematches. No, everybody's incentivized. You win your conference champion. If you're the top 5 conference champions, you get an automatic berth. Top 4 conference champions, you get an automatic bye. And then the seedings go on from there. Kerry Gold knows Stanford had to call Condoleezza Rice and George Bush to get Stanford in along with Cal and SMU in the ACC. I don't know anything about that, but thank you for the super chat. Kerry Gold knows. I think SMU's money, not wanting, first of all, ACC was pro rata. So the conference has to pay full amount to the ACC when they took in SMU, California, Stanford. But the money that California, Stanford are going to keep is at a discount, and SMU is not going to be keeping any of the Tier 1 money. And because SMU acquiesced to that, I think that's what really got him in to the ACC. SMU greased the skids for Stanford and California to come on in. That was my take on it. Thank you, Kerry Gold Nose. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your continued generosity. Very nice to the channel. So, again, a rematch of the game, Iron Bowl, USC, Notre Dame. Oregon, Ohio State could play themselves 3 times. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Now, to be fair, this article, Ross Dellinger article, was only really talking about the avoiding rematches in the first round. So 5-12, 7-11, 6-10, 5-12, 6-11, 7-10, 8-9 to avoid rematches in that first round. I say just let it go. I don't recoil on rematches. I think it's fine. Christopher Hooter does not agree. This is not the NFL. Nobody wants rematches, especially in round 1. So let's say you do the seeding process, okay? And let's say it's number 7 Notre Dame plays number 10 USC. Okay? But they've already played. And we got this rule, right? We're pretending this rule's already in. It's already in. And we're trying to avoid a rematch. What do you do then? Do you put Notre Dame down at 6? Do you penalize the team that is now 6 and they have to go to 7? Or do you move USC from 10 to 11? Okay, so you move USC from 10 to 11 and they have to play number 6. It might be Ohio State, who they've already played. I think it's just too much. I think you're butchering the seeding too much. I think you're putting too many. You're using a dull spoon. You think you're using a nice razor edge knife, but I think you might end up just chopping it all up, and where the seedings only are really controlled by rematches. Everyone loves rematches. Joe Z. Herb Street believes Pac would absorb Mountain West schools after the ACC gets poached. I don't think all those Mountain West schools are going to get absorbed by whatever ends up being the Pac. I do not believe the chatter is pretty consistent right now that not all the Mountain West schools are going to get absorbed. I don't think it's going to be a full merger. We're going to continue to follow the story here at Peek Around the Corner. No one will trust the seedings if they start coming up with reasons why they have to artificially change them. Immaculate just said it better in a comment. He just said it better than I've been trying to say it through this whole show. That's a great, concise comment. Don't just let the seeding fall where it falls and then play the games. Okay. So we've been through, we talked about John Wilner's article about what Washington State and Oregon State are thinking. We just went through the Ross Dellinger. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think everything's cool. I think everything's ready to go. I'm excited about the 12-team format. Again, Miami, Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald. What Canes fans should be excited about after adding receiver Sam Brown and running back Damian Martinez. We're not going to go through the whole article. I provide a link in the description. You can read the whole article. During the past 3 months, the Miami Hurricanes have pulled off an impressive trick of improving their offensive skill positions despite losing their starting quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke, Henry Parrish, Don Chaney, Colby Young, to perhaps the nation's best team, the Georgia Bulldogs. Colby Young to Georgia. Carson Beck, man. Right now, Carson Beck is my number one when it comes to the Heisman. As of right now. Over Quinn Ewers. The top 2 recruits from the coach's first recruiting class. Okay, so it goes on to talk about a former Houston receiver, Sam Brown. Damian Martinez gives the Canes an 800-plus yard number 3 receiver, something the program hasn't had this century, and a 1,006-plus per carry rusher, something that the program hasn't had since Duke Johnson, 2014. Cam Ward, they got a quarterback who's 5th in the country in completions, 8th in passing yards. They've added freshman weapons, JoJo Trader, Nye Carr, Elijah Lofton, who played tight end, H-back, running back, and receiver. Where the UM stands at the 4 playmaking positions on offense, the quarterback, Ward, Poffenbarger, Emory Williams, Judd Anderson. Who's arriving this summer? Nobody. Poffenbarger, who seems to be a slight favorite over Williams for the number 2 job. But Williams could overtake him if he outplays him in August. Who departed? Van Dyke. He's with Wisconsin. Ja'Cory Brown. It says here he remains in the portal, but he just committed to UCF today. A few hours ago, Ja'Cory Brown committed to UCF. Ward was very much as advertised in the spring, impressing with his arm strength, ability to deliver passes in the tight windows, mobility, big play capability. He looks like the total package, but must improve his penchant for fumbling. Cameron Ward, he's got those small hands. He stays in the pocket too long. If he can solve those issues, Miami's going to contend for the ACC championship. And then it goes on. I do provide a link in the description. Again, the Miami Hurricanes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the hype train has left the PATC station. I believe, hold on a second here. You see the win total numbers? Nebraska 7.5. Nebraska's winning 8. The Cornhuskers are going 8-4. Greg the Heater is calling his shot right now. Not only is Nebraska going to finally snap their bowl, not going to a bowl game for 7 years. They're going 8-4. There's a definite ceiling on Nebraska. Again, their running back room, I think, is a little bit weak. Their wide receiver room is better this year than last year. I don't trust that offensive line, even though they're old. They got to keep Dylan Raiola healthy. They've not been able to keep a Nebraska They've not been able to keep a Nebraska quarterback healthy at Lincoln for years. That offensive line, at some point or another, leaves their quarterback vulnerable. Got to keep Raiola healthy. If he stays healthy, with that defense coming back, defensive coordinator Tony White, with that schedule, Nebraska's going 8-4. 8-4, baby. 8-4. And then the Miami Hurricanes. We've talked about this. Clemson 9.5, Florida State 9.5, Miami 9.5, North Carolina State 8.5. Those are the 4 teams that I'm looking at in the ACC. Not North Carolina, not Louisville. SMU's going to be decent. Virginia Tech's going to be decent. Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and North Carolina State. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? It's those 4, man. 4 teams. Very fascinating. I think Clemson's going to come out of the gates pretty slow again. I think they're going to get their doors blown off by Georgia. I think that line right now is 12.5. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think Georgia is favored by 12.5. And I think Georgia's going to whoop them. Sorry, Clemson fans in the chat room, but I think Clemson's going to get whooped. And then they've got to face adversity. And I think there's still enough juice to where they compete for the ACC championship. But right off the bat, they're going to get their doors blown off. They're going to have to recover from that. It's not going to be an easy road this year. It is not going to be an easy road for the Seminoles. Miami, North Carolina State, Clemson, I think it's a 4-team race. And I think it's going to be fun to watch. And one of those other ACC schools, like a Virginia Tech, SMU, we'll see if someone can come up and surprise. Georgia Tech, Haynes King, had a real good spring. All right. So I think that's about it for our monologue. Let's get to your phone calls. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. The phone lines are open. Talk anything you want to talk in college football. Echo Chamber, Clemson going 7-5. Clemson will not get to 9.5 wins. It's guaranteed. Iowa likely to get 10 wins. Holy smokes.
Call from
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Greg? Thanks for having me on again, as always.
Yep.
So I wanted to just speak on the ACC projected win totals.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. Hold on. I'm disorganized like usual. Hold on.
You're good.
Okay, go ahead.
So I want to win everybody some money, easy money this year.
All right.
There's no way Clemson is winning 9.5 games this year. Zero chance that happens.
Let me put up the football schedule here. Hold on. Keep going.
That doesn't mean I think they're going to be just a horrible team, but I think the 3 or 4 ACC programs have caught up to them talent-wise, and I think the quarterback is just he has a lot of limitations. They're so used to having amazing quarterback play.
Yes.
Yeah, now they've had average quarterback play, and so it kind of exposes just some of the holes they had on their team talent-wise.
Now, they haven't gotten a quarterback in the portal, right?
Correct.
Klubnik did not look good in that spring game. Who's that other? Who's the backup? A guy named Peterson.
Yep.
He looked decent. The other guy did not look good. Can't remember the name. But
He's
Klubnik
a
was
rookie. I think a freshman.
yeah. But Klubnik was brutal. So yeah. Now I'm gonna pop up the schedule here on the board. You can keep talking about them. They play Georgia. I don't think it's gonna go well for them. They play Appalachian State. They play North Carolina State. First conference game in Clemson. North Carolina State in Clemson. Holy smokes! You all know how much I think North Carolina State's going to be an excellent football team this year. Stanford at Florida State at Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest by that time, October 12th, I think Wake Forest is going to be playing their freshman quarterback Hecklinski. I think he's going to be a good one for Wake Forest. I'm not saying he's going to be ready to play Clemson on October 12th. Virginia Cavaliers, Louisville at Clemson, at Virginia Tech, at Pittsburgh. They do have South Carolina at home. It's not the most brutal schedule. At Florida State, but they do have North Carolina State at home. They do have Louisville at home. They do have South Carolina at home. Go ahead.
I'll just say this. So the games that I think they will lose, Georgia, NC State, Florida State, and Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The issue, and I think the other two games that are toss-ups, South Carolina and Virginia Tech on the road. Right?
Yeah.
The issue with Clemson is their offense is just not good. They're going to have to score points. Their defense has been trending the opposite way since Venables left. Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to score points. I have little faith in our offense scoring enough points. And I think like I said, the talent gap isn't there. And there are some teams that have been taking a beating by Clemson for the last 10 years, and now they're able to return the favor. So the Louisville game, the Virginia Tech game will be a top game on those teams' schedule. Whereas I don't think it'll be a top game on Clemson's schedule. And I have a suspicion that the Virginia Tech game is going to be at night. You know, because ESPN and ACC love playing Virginia Tech at night against Clemson, Florida State, or the big games, right? So I think they're going to be a 7-win team. And mark my word, that App State game is going to be much tougher than a lot of people think. And I would not be surprised if they lost that game, because last year they sleptwalk against Duke to start the season. So I think the opening up the conference schedule will be a big kind of emphasis for Dabo and his team. And I think they may just look past App State. And App State typically plays the North Carolina, Appalachian State kind of area teams really well. And they run the ball really well typically. So I wouldn't be surprised if that game is much closer than a lot of people would assume.
Mm-hmm.
But now, the main part, what I want to talk to you about was, I think the top of the ACC is going to be as competitive as any conference in Division I or Power 5, Power 4. I think Miami has reloaded with talent. On paper, they look competitive. They have to overcome coaching. You would hope that the coaching is improved. I think Florida State has reloaded and rebuilt at the same time. Their team is built exactly how a prototypical Mike Norvell team is built. Before Jordan Travis, Mike had accurate, big throwers. He had 2 quarterbacks to get drafted in the NFL that were big, big arm. They run the ball, lower your sleep with the run, and then they hit you over the top with bomb shots. I think they got speed on the outside. I see Florida State winning 10, 11 games this year. Miami, like I said before, is really loaded talent-wise. I want to see them put it together. And North Carolina State, the coach, I forgot his name, Dave Doran. He wins 8-9 games every season. This year may be his most talented team. He brought over the running back from Duke, Jordan Waters. It's pretty good. I'm not a big fan of McCall that he got from, I think, Coastal Carolina somewhere.
Oh, I'm a big fan of McCall. Big fan, baby. Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not a fan, when quarterbacks jump up, there's a talent gap. And so he doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's crafty. He's accurate, but he does not have the biggest arm. And so when teams take away the short stuff, can he hit the down the field stuff? That's all.
Oh, but I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this season to start, baby.
So now, and lastly, Louisville and the coach, I forgot his name, from Purdue.
Chuck Braun.
Braun.
Yeah.
Braun is going to score points. His defense may be hit or miss. He's going to, score 30 points. And I think in a conference like the ACC, 30 points is like, if you can score 30, you're going to win 85, 90% of the games. That's why I have Louisville beating Clemson. Clemson's not going to score 30 points. I don't think Louisville is on the same field as Florida State or Miami talent-wise, but their coach is a top 20 coach, in my opinion, in college football, and he will put together any team. Like, people talk about how Florida State just got all the transfers and did a good job. Louisville may have had more transfers than Florida State. This year they have a completely new team again. He consistently wins. His last year in the Big Ten, he took a very subpar talented Purdue team to the Big Ten championship. So he wins. No matter where he goes, he wins. So Louisville, NC State, Miami, and Florida State are the top four for me. And the second tier, I got Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Virginia Tech. But those are 7 teams that are super competitive. Yeah. There's no one team that's going to completely dominate. Yeah. And it usually lends itself for really good, entertaining football.
Yeah. All right, man. BJ, I appreciate the call, sir.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You got it. Beautiful. We got breaking news. Greg the Cooler is in effect. First of all, Kerry Gold knows, thank you once again for your incredible generosity. How can anyone trust the college football committee after what they polled on Florida State? Super chat. Well, you really can't. But I don't want to mess.
Call from
Crab Cakes and Football.
Crab Cakes and Football. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yes, sir.
I just don't want to mess with the seedings. I don't want them to be artificially thrown around just because we want to avoid a rematch in round 1. But I understand your perspective on it, Kerry Golnose. I definitely do. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your generosity. Before we get to you, Crab Cakes and Football, we do have breaking news. Breaking news. Greg the Cooler has struck again. Remember the start of the show? I was on the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Miami Hurricanes hype train, and I am the engineer. Well, 11 minutes ago, Nebraska's edge rusher, Chief Borders, enters the NCAA transfer portal. He's actually a guy who plays a whole bunch of snaps. Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket, who put out this tweet before the spring game, he was saying Chief Borders is one of the guys we got to watch during the spring game. He's constantly putting pressure in practices, and he just entered the portal. know what happened here. This is not something that was expected out of Lincoln. I don't know what somebody must have got ahead. No, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I better not say anything. You can speculate on what happened. Let's just say maybe Borders got a better offer because Borders was one of their main cogs in pass rushing for the Cornhuskers. That is a big loss. I am shocked. I know Steve Sipple is. Nobody was expecting that. Crab cake. Once again, Greg the Cooler. I say something positive about Nebraska for the first time in 7 years. For the first time in 7 years, I say something positive about the program because of Dylan Raiola. And within the hour, their best edge rusher goes in the portal. Holy smokes. Crab Cakes and Football, the floor is yours.
Hey, I made that comment earlier about 3 turning into 4.
Yes.
You got MJ Morris. You're going to have Billy Edwards. You're going to have Cam Edge, and then you're going to have Robert Long.
Robert Long.
Robert Long, we got him in a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So he did okay to start off with until the rain started falling. He's pretty good with the hurry-up offense. He's got a real strong arm, but he's got a long ways to go. I still think it's MJ Morris's to lose now after what I saw. But
MJ Morris,
I'm with
okay.
you. Yeah. I mean, Cam Edge has a great deep ball.
Yes.
But he cannot throw short, and
Oh.
he doesn't run. And I did not like what I saw out of Billy Edwards. He's good for 2 yards and out from the end zone for
Yep.
the sneak, but he can't throw the ball. He can run.
Yeah.
And then you got Robert. He's going to be a good backup maybe because I think 2 of them will transfer. And then, but I think MJ Morris is going to get the job. But now, as for the CFP and matching up teams against you've got the framework. Let the teams fall where they fall. If they just happen to play again, so be it.
Yeah.
Was the first time a fluke that someone beat somebody? Well, we're going to find out in the playoffs because if the other team wins, that team's going home. The other team's moving on. It don't matter if they lost the first time. So it gives them a chance to bark a little more. And, but what I think is going to be real interesting, personally, is when they start getting teams that they never in a million years thought would make the college football playoff. Like a Syracuse or Maryland or Purdue or somebody, Ole Miss, all these teams that they're not thinking of. They're always thinking of the big dogs. They're not thinking of the North Carolinas and the North Carolina states or, out in West Virginia's. I mean, they don't really get a lot of love when it comes to the top. When they start filling up the bracket, I wonder how fast before they change it again. Just a thought. Because, they want where the money's at, like the Florida States and the Texases and the Alabamas and the Georgias and Ohio States and the Michigans, the USCs. When you start leaving them out, and not because someone got injured, but legitimately they're getting beat or they just happen to lose a tiebreaker and somebody else gets in over them. Now, in 1 team, 2 teams, they'll stick with it. But you start getting a porotha, or however you say that word, of teams that normally don't get looked at making a college football playoff, that the SEC and the Big Ten will scream to change it quicker than anything because they want their big guys to get in there, the Penn States, the USCs, the Washingtons, Oregons, and everybody from the SEC. You start getting a little dog a chance, too many of them, they'll change it again. So that's my thought. All right, man, I got to get to work. I just wanted to give you that 4th name because it's Robert Long. They call him Champ Long. So
got it, Champ Long.
He started off hot, but Champ Long. But he's from New Jersey. So, all right, man. Talk to you later.
Appreciate the info. Thank you, sir. I got more breaking news. Kerry Gold knows, please always pick against Florida State
Call from
Immaculate.
Immaculate, I do apologize. We have more breaking news.
I know, so I called.
Okay. No, I mean, I said it before I heard you.
I was already calling.
Huh?
I was already calling.
Oh, okay. Sakari Franklin, wide receiver, Ole Miss, has just hit the portal. Now, I remember being all excited when Franklin transferred to Ole Miss last year. When he was on UTSA, he had a couple of years. He had at least 1 year where he caught over 90 balls. I think he had another year where he caught over 80 balls. Unbelievable production for the Roadrunners. He goes to the SEC program, and I don't remember what happened to him. He might have got injured. I think he only played a couple games. I don't remember. He's been around for college football forever. I don't know how many years he's played. Somebody look that up. I could look it up right now, but I got so many things going on. Franklin is in the portal. So I'm telling you guys, he did not, I don't believe he even really played for Ole Miss. Something happened. But this guy was a top G5 wide receiver. I remember somebody did a breakdown of the top 10 receivers going into next year, and Franklin was like at number 9 or 10 of all of college football. So if you're a program like Iowa Hawkeye, somebody looking for a guy who might be able to rack up some real good production for you, look at Sakari Franklin. He just entered the portal. Immaculate, thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
We got some things to talk about. First off, come on now. We can't drink all the Raiola Kool-Aid this early, right?
I drank it before that spring game.
He's a freshman.
But you remember, I drank it before that game, and then after watching that spring game, I poured the red Kool-Aid on top of me. I mixed in a little bit of gasoline. I lit the match, and I lit myself on fire. That's how much I'm on board the Dylan Raiola hype train. And I am a Golden Gopher, so.
Yeah, but here's the deal on that. I'm going to give the guys the smoke on that. Because you're a Golden Gopher, but you know Iowa's taking that trophy back this year. And so you want to see Nebraska get some revenge for you.
No, that.
Yeah.
I first of all, I can't think in those many steps. That's why I can't play. That's why I can't play chess.
Got me there then.
I can't play chess. I can't even play checkers. I only can move one spot at a time. If I try to think any more of advance, I get lost in myself. I forget everything, and I leave my queen or my king totally open. No, the kid is unbelievably talented. I'm talking, if he just keeps his head on straight, the sky is the limit, and Nebraska's going to win some football games.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they'll win some.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he could very well, especially if he sticks with Rule, could become a very good quarterback in the future. Maybe NFL quality. There's a lot that goes into that. I'm just not sure if he's going to find his real potential while he's still a Cornhusker.
Wow, he's still a Cornhusker.
Yeah. We won't go into that. Another story. That's a different path.
Yeah.
But, look, he's been practicing and playing up with these guys, and it's springtime. I mean, defenses aren't really – they're not keyed in yet. Offense is a little bit easier to do early on. And he's not going up against defenses that he's been playing against those same guys in practice. Yeah. So he knows. It's not the same thing. And I hope he's good. I hope he's good for them. We need Nebraska to kind of kick it up a notch. It's just not going to happen the first year. He's going to face some tough times.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find out. And I'm just never betting on a freshman in those situations.
Yeah. And
Like,
I do not like their offensive line. And people
yeah,
say,
that's
Greg, they
another
got
thing.
so much experience. Yeah, they do, and it's all bad. I mean, Ben Hart, the right tackle, I had people telling me he finally playing some decent ball, Greg. And then I watch him, and he's like a turnstile. People are going around him. The quarterbacks are getting killed. The offensive line always underperforms at Nebraska for the last so many years. And the guys they have on that line, they've been there forever. And besides the center, they're not really that good, in my opinion. And I think that's been proven out. Their running game hasn't been good. Their running backs this year, Emmett Johnson, I'm not a big believer. Gab Urban, I'm not a big believer. Ramir Johnson, he can't stay healthy. I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in their running game. But their passing game, I think, is going to be good. And I think their defense is going to be really good. And their schedule, I got Nebraska winning 8. Not 9, not 7, but 8.
All the talk there's a lot of schools trying to come and take that tight end from them.
Yeah. Fedoni he's really good. He finally had a healthy season last year. He's not leaving, though. He is a Nebraska guy. If you ever hear him talk, he's
well, for their sake, I hope he stays, because they're going to need that kind of a target for him. You need a big target that he can see moving through the crowd.
Yeah, but Chief Borders just went in the portal. So now I'm just speculating. I don't know. Of course, I don't know. This came as a big shock to me, but there must have been some type of offer to him. That's a big shocker.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea where. I mean, I was kind of joking. I was like, he's going to go join Phil Parker's all-star defense, but I have no idea on that. That would almost be tasteless to actually see that happen. I don't really want to see any Nebraska guys come join Iowa.
Yeah.
But as far as what else you got going on with the G5 stuff, going in with do you really think that that's their final thing? Are they still of the same mindset that they had when they're saying their first goal is to get into a P5, a major conference?
Whose goal?
It was the AD of Oregon State was saying that their goal was also the president there. Plus, it's just all the talk coming out of Washington State, Oregon State was that their number one goal was to try to land a spot within a power conference. The backup plan was always to rebuild the pack.
Sure. I mean, the thing is, I think they can do both. So I don't think it's.
Yeah, you got to work on your backup plan.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the way you're talking, and now with the other guy talking about. I mean, are you sensing that they're starting to give up at all, or they're preparing the backup plan if they need it, which is smart.
They've got to. I don't think they're giving up. I just think they've got to get moving, though. Right? If this has to be ready for the 2026 season, this new conference, or they're going to lose money. So for them to get that conference ready, they got to go after the top targets who are interested right now. And that's what's going on. So I don't think they've given up on anything, but it had to start now. Now that they're about to announce their media deal, the 2-year media deal, Washington State and Oregon State, now they know their own valuations. Now they got checking out everybody else's valuation.
Also, gonna have to give a little shout out here. I know people might have thought I was joking because of the joking that we do about Georgia Tech. But I actually think they're going to be good this year. They had 7 wins last year.
Yeah.
And I with recruiting there, with them actually having new offense and everything going on there, I don't see why they don't improve. I actually think they could be one of the top teams in the ACC, not the top team. Those are Florida State and Clemson. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're right up there in that next tier, pushing for try to be the third best team in the conference this year. And people might think that's a joke, but I'm not. I actually think that they're one of the up and coming programs because they finally decided that they want to do that they want to be competitive. So we'll see how that goes, man. I think this could be a very interesting year. We're gonna have, the brand new Big 12.
Yeah.
Figure out who gets on top there. You've got, I don't know, we might know before the season starts about what's going on with these ACC schools. I tend to think we will. But if that's still going on, how does that start to affect the mentalities in some of these programs of, they're looking at these teams across from them who they may not be playing again in the future. So a lot of storylines in there. And I do think that we're going to have a massive amount of movement in the G5. It's just not yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that. I think what you're talking about with the Mountain West, maybe in the pack.
Yeah.
I think that's the linchpin, one of them, but a major one that might be holding up some of these from maybe talking with, an ACC about AAC about having a merger or something. Is this would be their better option. So as long as this is on the table, that's holding up other things from also being talked about. So really kind of curious to hear more about this in the future as this is coming up. And if it ever gets to a point where they're like, yeah, that's actually not going to work because that could be a precursor for other things. So that's pretty much all. I don't know if really it's kind of like a slow day, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Coach Rule of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Coach Rule of Nebraska earlier during spring said Chief Borders is probably the most improved player on our team through camp. You know what? Chief has arrived, and you know what? He's a problem out there. So they were bragging him up all through spring camp. I'm reading the message board right now. He was a grad from, transferred from Florida. He's a grad transfer now. Basically, they were getting him ready for this year. He's an edge rusher, linebacker. Christopher from 247 says after a good spring. Bummer. Rule said he was the most improved player this spring. He definitely was going to play. He was finally going to play. Mike Schaefer, the longtime owner of Husker 247, said staff seem excited about him this spring, and suddenly he's in the portal. Yeah, I think someone must have.
People are always looking for edges.
Yeah. Oops.
So if you got a good one, you got to get them locked down.
Yeah.
General NFL rules as well. So I have no idea where you're going. Maybe different people think, that they might bring them in and what top level programs, because that's really what you need. You need a top level program to need something like that in order to pull a guy like that. But yeah, that sucks. I mean, they are coming along, and like I said, maybe Rule surprises me and he sticks around there for a while, and that would be great. I have a hard time placing that bet. So we'll see what comes of this. If he has a hard time keeping guys like this, though, that's going to be quite the uphill battle. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. I think things will pick up later this week. I know we have a big May 2nd situation going on. So
yeah.
we'll keep an eye on that one.
My thing that I'm watching, and most people may not be, that I've kind of prioritized as number one, is actually now getting the announcement from the USC hearings at the NLRB.
Oh.
It's actually, in my importance, it's actually surpassed the Florida State situation because we know it's going to come of that in the end. It's just a matter of getting through it. It's a slog. It's tiring. It's political. Well, it's all political. But this USC, when we get that announcement, I just looking over the course of things, I feel like that's another linchpin. Like once we get that answer, we're going to know what's going to happen along a lot and how quickly with the employment situation in these major conferences. I mean, is that going to show that no major conference is now protected from this because USC is going in the Big Ten, or if they end up winning and the NLRB rules against unionization there, that's then going to show that maybe some of these major conferences with public schools are havens. They are a protection against that. We're not actually going to get the employment like this, and we're going to have some type of NIL merging with athletic departments type of a situation. I don't know. But for that right there,
yeah.
Huh? What's that?
Did you hear the UAB story today?
Oh, they're fully, the entire team signed with basically an agency?
Yeah. UAB becomes the first Division I football team to join Players Association. Woo!
I think that works in either pathway.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a lot of NIL type money coming out of the athletic department, it's the same thing. Because now you can have your agents talking with the athletic department. But I mean, they have a professional player as their head coach, and he seemed to kind of pull this together. So good for those guys. I mean, kind of setting the tone here. So we'll see how it goes. But that's my watch that maybe a lot of people aren't really thinking that much about, and we should be getting an answer on that within a month. I mean, it could be a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it's short term as well.
Yeah, it's a big
sometime this month in May, we're going to find out from that, and I think dominoes are going to start falling after that because schools are going to have their answer.
Yeah.
But they've been waiting. So we'll see how it goes, Greg. A lot
Beautiful.
of stuff to be excited for, but it's just kind of tough waiting for it. So have yourself a good one. Good talking to you, buddy.
Appreciate it, Mr. Hot Guy. Mr. Hot Guy with the beautiful call. I thought he was going to be tougher on me. I thought he was going to throw a little bit sharper elbows because I'm talking about the hype train. That is Nebraska. He did say, Greg, calm down. Dylan Raiola, he can't improve the program that much. He's a true freshman. So he did, but he was nice to me. Hot Guy Immaculate was nice to me. He was trying to tell me, slow down, kid. Slow down. Ryan Willie, the evil badger. He never throws a soft elbow. He's always throwing a sharp elbow. Ryan Willow, the evil badger. Anyone who thinks the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl because they drafted J.J. McCarthy is dreaming. The Vikings winning the Super Bowl. Laughing my bleep off. Ryan Willie, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so very much. I was happy with the J.J. McCarthy draft pick. I wanted McCarthy or Drake May. I would have loved Michael Michael Penix, obviously. I would have loved him as well. But anyways, I'm afraid that the Vikings defense, I don't know. I'm not sure if the timing is right with the Vikings. Like, will the defense be ready by 25 to win the Super Bowl? No. 26, J.J. Jefferson still with the Vikings 3 years from now. J.J. McCarthy maybe ready for a Super Bowl run 3 years from now, 2026. Well, the defense, they don't have many draft picks to improve their defense. I don't know. I don't know about the Vikings. They've never won a Super Bowl, and I remember two of them. I'm old enough to remember two of them. And neither of those Super Bowls were competitive. I will say, though, thank you so much for the super chat, for your continued generosity, Mr. Ryan Willie. Thank you so very much. I'm going to tell you something, and I told you all this a couple weeks ago. Minnesota Timberwolves are winning the whole thing, baby. They're winning the whole thing. They just are. It's their time. It's their time. 1989. The first year for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm in college. RB Apartments, Hollenbeck, a block off of Hollenbeck Hall, St. Cloud State, St. Cloud, Minnesota. And I'm laying in bed and I got the big stereo. This is 1989. Big stereo with the big silver dial, with the big, huge speakers. And I'm listening at night. I'm laying in bed. And I'm listening to the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Charles Barkley and the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm listening to the first victory for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Franchise victory. It was great. Now, pretty much every year has been bad except for a couple of them. Kevin Garnett, 2004, in and around that time period. Everything else has been brutal. Absolutely brutal. Pretty much. Anthony Edwards, the real deal. I mean, he facilitates, plays defense, rebounds, block shot. The only thing that he doesn't do at the highest level is his offense efficiency when it comes to shooting. And even that is really good for a 22-year-old shooting guard. For a 22-year-old shooting guard, his efficiency is pretty good. But he isn't at the top level of efficiency. But everything else, Anthony Edwards is tremendous. And then you've got Karl Anthony Towns finally playing some good playoff. Rudy Gobert centering the defense. Jaden McDaniels centering the defense, an incredible 3D guy. You got Mike Conley. You've got a bench. You've got it all. Go win the thing, Timberwolves. Go win it all. Why not? Do you know how long? You know the last time a professional Minnesota team has won a world championship? Men's world championship. 1991. 1991. It's unbelievable. So go win it. Go win it all. But the Vikings, I got to give J.J. McCarthy a couple years. I'm excited about him. Jokic doesn't agree. Richard L., Mr. Colorado. Bring it on, Denver. Bring it on, Richard. Bring it on. Yeah, Jokic is a problem. No question about it. He is the best player in the world. But you know what? I think Murray has a little bit of a hamstring pull. I think it's a little tight. Anyways, phone lines are open. 763-260-133. It's April 29th. And we're still getting breaking news on people entering the transfer portal. I believe tomorrow is the last day. Right? We're still getting breaking news. I'm just checking out, see if there's any more breaking news. This is breaking news. This is breaking news. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I think I'm going to let that one go. Think I'm going to let that one go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your Phoenix Suns are going to do with their coach, Vogel. It's a tough spot to be in. They're probably going to have to trade Durant. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Tough spot. Tough spot. Durant can still play, obviously. Booker was getting at the line a million times last night. Scored 49 points. They just couldn't get anything out of Brady Beal, and it didn't work. But yeah, Denver is going to be a huge task. Tony, Nebraska hasn't made a bowl game in 7 years. True. But man, for the first time in a long time, we're going to see a Nebraska Cornhusker offense that's actually going to throw the ball downfield. I agree, Thomas. I have no problem with rematches in the first round of the playoffs. Lonnie Smith should have kept running. You're talking about the World Series in '87 when they faked him out when he went back to second base, or he stopped running? Yeah, when he stopped running, when he went back to second base. Is that what you're talking about, Rob? Holy smokes. There's old people. I'm not the only old person, huh? Lakers not winning do they play tonight? Do the Lakers play tonight? Denver and Lakers? Denver, Nuggets and the Lakers? Celtics and Heat, Thunder and Pelicans, Lakers and Nuggets. Well, I guess I gotta root for the Lakers, huh? I gotta hope the Lakers stretch Denver out just a little bit more. 1991. 1991. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Atlanta Braves. Yeah, that's right. If you're new to the channel, or if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our college football YouTube channel and then turn on your notifications, because we can come on live at any time. During breakfast, during lunch, during late night hours, anytime. Have your notifications on. Follow us at Flug Empire on X. You can see it in the ticker below on the bottom of the screen. And smash the like button if you like our content. I think we're going to shut it down. We've been on the air for almost 2 hours. We talked about a lot of things here at Peek Around the Corner today. I'm on the hype train. Nebraska, Miami. Although I might have already cursed Nebraska because Chief Borders is already in the portal. Right after I said positive things about Nebraska, their outside linebacker rush edge, Chief Borders, who was been their most improved player, starting position, is in the portal. Just like that. But Dylan Raiola, remember the name. if you don't watch Big Ten football, you don't watch Nebraska, I would turn them on at some point this season because Dylan Raiola is going to be a great quarterback. So check it out. I'm on Miami's. But then again, I like Florida State this year. I like North Carolina State this year. And I do like some of Clemson. So 4-team race in the ACC. We're going to be soon starting our way too early conference predictions here at Peek Around the Corner. Now that the portal season is almost over, we got a better lay of the land. There's more stability comes with the rosters. Now we can get serious. Now we can get serious with our way too early predictions for the conference football races here in 2024. And I got a feeling that Greg the Heater is going to be heating up, baby. Remember, last year I picked Washington to win the big Pac-12 when the Pac-12 media picked USC. I picked Florida State to win the ACC championship when ACC media picked Clemson. I'm not going to talk about my Big Ten prediction, however, and I'm not going to talk about my Big 12. No, I got Big 12 correct. I got Texas right. I got a lot of things right last year. I did not get the Big Ten correct, however. But anyways, so we're going to get real serious with our conference predictions here coming up soon once this portal season ends. So, and we got a lot of drama happening probably later this week. So buckle up, brace for impact. Thank you for the donations, for the great comments and the phone calls during our live show. It's going to heat up this week, so get ready. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.